Welcome, fellow captains. Today we're taking a brief look into the historical power dynamics of the Caribbean, specifically as they existed around the year 1780. This was a pivotal era, marked by intense rivalries and shifting alliances. We'll be exploring the state of each major nation present in the region: Britain, Spain, France, the Netherlands, the fledgling USA, and the ever-present threat of pirates. However, it is crucial to understand that this is a historical overview. While we'll be discussing the realities of the time, this may not directly translate to how these nations are represented in Ahoy. The developers will have their own interpretations and gameplay considerations, and the game's mechanics may diverge from strict historical accuracy. So join us as we explain the historical context, keeping in mind that this is a foundation for speculation, not a definite guide to the game mechanics.
Welcome to the channel. Join the Commodore Lyrinx fleet in the age of sail in gaming. Expect historical insights, devblog analysis, and gameplay. Let's set sail.
In the 18th century Caribbean, Britain stood as the apex naval power, a testament to their strategic vision and maritime prowess. Their state was characterised by a formidable, well-funded Royal Navy, the envy of the world, capable of projecting power across vast oceans. This wasn't just about battleships, it was about a logistical network that could sustain a global fleet, with the well-stocked ports like the Port Royal in Jamaica serving as vital hubs. Economically, Britain was robust, fueled by the infamous triangular trade, a system that brought wealth but also immense human suffering. They controlled key commodities like sugar, a highly lucrative trade that shaped their colonial policies. However, they faced numerous challenges. Maintaining such a sprawling empire required constant vigilance against rivals like France and Spain, who were always looking for opportunities to challenge their dominance. The reliance on impressment, the forced recruitment of sailors, often led to social unrest and resentment. The growing tensions with the American colonies, fueled by issues like taxation without representation, were a significant concern, threatening to destabilise their entire colonial system. In Ahoy, this could translate to a nation with unparalleled naval strength and economic advantages, but one that players must manage carefully. They will need to balance the need to defend against rivals with the need to maintain internal stability and manage the complex logistics of a global empire. Think about the strategic decisions players would need to make: where to deploy their fleets, how to protect their trade routes, and how to manage their colonial resources. Would they focus on aggressive expansion, pushing into new territories and establishing more colonies, or would they prioritise defence and consolidation, fortifying their existing holdings and focusing on economic stability? How would players manage the complex political landscape of the Caribbean, balancing their relationships with the other nations and dealing with potential rebellions or unrest within their own ranks? How would players handle the logistical challenges of maintaining a vast naval fleet and supplying their colonial outposts, ensuring their forces are always ready to defend against threats? Spain, once a dominant colonial power, was in a state of gradual decline in the 18th century, yet they remained a force to be reckoned with. Their vast empire, though rich in resources, was increasingly difficult to defend against the rising naval powers of France and Britain. They relied heavily on the treasure fleets, the annual convoys that transported gold and silver from the New World, making them a prime target for pirates and privateers. Their colonial administration was often inefficient and corrupt, and they struggled to compete with the more modern navies and economic systems of their rivals. They held strategically important ports like Havana and Cartagena, vital for controlling trade routes and defending their territories. But their military was stretched thin, trying to protect a vast and diffuse empire. Their focus on defence and protection of existing assets meant they were less aggressive in expansion, preferring to consolidate their holdings rather than risk further losses. This suggests a nation with strong defensive capabilities and access to valuable resources, but one that must contend with logistical challenges, internal corruption, and the constant threat of aggressive rivals. Players could need to make strategic decisions about where to fortify their defences, how to protect their treasure fleets, and how to manage their colonial resources. Would they focus on building strong defensive fleets, or would they invest in land-based fortifications? How would they deal with the constant threat of piracy and the potential for internal revolts? France was a major rival to Britain, actively seeking to expand its influence in the Caribbean and challenge British naval supremacy. Their state was characterised by a strong, though often smaller navy, focused on speed, manoeuvrability, and innovative ship designs. They relied heavily on privateering, using licensed pirates to disrupt British trade and harass their shipping. Their colonies, like Saint Dominique, were highly profitable, producing valuable commodities like sugar, coffee, and indigo, but they were also vulnerable to British naval power. The French were frequently involved in conflicts with Britain, both in Europe and the Americas, fighting for control of territories and trade routes. In Ahoy, this suggests a nation with a focus on naval agility and raiding, with potential for strong economic gains from colonies, but one that must contend with the constant threat of a superior British navy. This could mean players would need to make strategic decisions about how to balance their naval forces, seeking alliances with privateers effectively, and how to defend their colonies from attack. Would they focus on building fast, agile frigates, or would they invest in heavily armed ships of the line? How would they use diplomacy to secure alliances, and how would they manage the complex political landscapes of the Caribbean? The Netherlands was a powerful trading nation, focused on maximising profits through commerce and maintaining neutrality in conflicts. Their state was characterised by a vast and efficient merchant fleet, with ships like the Flute designed for maximum cargo capacity and minimal crew. They had a network of trading posts throughout the Caribbean, serving as hubs for the exchange of goods and information. They prioritised diplomatic solutions to conflict, preferring to negotiate trade agreements and alliances rather than engage in costly wars. They were economically powerful, but their military was relatively small, relying on their merchant fleet for defence and their diplomatic skills for protection. Within Ahoy, this suggests a nation with a focus on economic gameplay, with potential for strong trade bonuses, diplomatic options, and unique ship designs, but one that must be careful to avoid direct conflict with larger powers. Players could need to make strategic decisions about how to manage their trade routes, how to negotiate trade agreements, and how to defend their trading posts from attack. Would they focus on building a vast trading empire, or would they invest in defensive fleets? How would they use their diplomatic skills to secure alliances and avoid conflict? The United States of America was a newly formed nation, struggling to establish its presence in the Caribbean and assert its independence from European powers. Their state was characterised by a small but growing navy and a focus on protecting its trade interests and expanding its territory. They were economically reliant on trade with Europe and the Caribbean, exporting raw materials and importing manufactured goods. They were still dealing with the aftershocks of the American Revolution, building a new government and establishing their identity as a nation. They were eager to expand their influence, but faced challenges from established colonial powers who viewed them as a threat to their interests. In Ahoy, this suggests a nation with a focus on rapid expansion, versatile ships, and a strong emphasis on individual initiative and resourcefulness, but one that must contend with the challenges of a young nation. Players would need to make strategic decisions about how to build their navy, how to expand their territory, and how to manage their relations with European powers. Would they focus on building a strong navy, or would they invest in land-based expansion? How would they use their diplomatic skills to secure alliances and avoid conflict? Pirates operated outside of national allegiances, driven by the pursuit of wealth, freedom, and adventure. Their state was characterised by a loose network of hideouts and havens like Nassau, and a reliance on raiding and plundering to survive. They were highly mobile and adaptable, using fast and agile ships to attack merchant vessels and evade naval patrols. They lacked the resources and organisation of established nations, but they had a strong sense of community and a code of conduct that governed their behaviour. Their influence was disruptive, challenging the authority of colonial powers and disrupting trade routes. In Ahoy, this suggests a faction with a focus on fast and agile ships, a freedom to engage in any activity, and a potential for unique gameplay mechanics related to raiding, smuggling, and unique ship customisation, but one that must contend with the constant threat of being hunted by naval powers. Players would need to make strategic decisions about how to build their pirate fleet, how to choose their targets, and how to manage their relations with other pirates. Would they focus on raiding merchant vessels, or would they form alliances with other pirates to attack naval convoys? How would they manage the risks and rewards of a pirate lifestyle? The nations of Ahoy offer a rich tapestry of historical context and gameplay possibilities, each with its unique strength, challenges and stories to tell. Which nation will you choose to align with? Let me know in the comments section below. In the future, I'll be doing a breakdown of each nation in its own video, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the world of Ahoy, and join our community, discuss the game's development and share your passion for 18th century naval history. We'll continue to delve into historical details, examine the gameplay mechanics and explore the possibilities that Ahoy offers. Let's set sail together and discover the secrets of the 18th century Caribbean. I hope to see you all on the waves.